Here we go. All right. How's everybody doing? I'm Rondell Sutherland here with Maurice Edwards, T. Nesbitt, and this is a new show, Nutty North, show all about AFC North football. How how everybody feeling?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. Grateful to be here. We staying safe during this COVID, acting all up. Everybody got their mask. We just took it off to talk. But,
Right.
ready to get this show on the road, talk about the AFC North and see where everybody going with it.
Okay. How you doing, T?
Living the dream, man. Fresh off of IR, had some surgery yesterday, but here we play. We play through injuries. Back better than ever. Hopefully, I can speak. I might have a little lisp in this, but we good. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So let's start it off with the draft recap. You want to start off, T, with your team?
My Browns did what they needed to do. I thought a big thing with us was hitting the offensive line, and we definitely did that. We got some linebackers, we got some corners, some safeties. We got a little bit of everything. It's like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. Um, I thought that we needed to really the trenches more than anything is where we needed to go, and Jedrick is a big piece of that. That man's mammoth. So I mean, if anything the Browns are going to do starts and ends with Baker and keeping him upright and tight. So just being able to get a big lineman out there to be able to protect him, along with having Conklin too. I know that wasn't the draft, but it's taking care of what our needs are, and that was big. So I think that was a huge help. It sucked last season, our season, but we ended up in the top 10 area to be able to get in my opinion, the best lineman in the draft. So
Okay.
I'm happy with that. And we fill some depth pieces out too. So it's all good in my hood.
All right. What about you, Maurice?
The Ravens. I think it was a good quality draft. Starting with Patrick Queen, getting him in the first round. He should be a starter from day one coming in. Him and Malik Harrison, Columbus on Walnut Ridge, right there. Shout out to Ridge. You feel me? You know where I graduated from. But he should come in also be a starter next to Patrick Queen. They should make a good duo right there. And it was also the J.K. Dobbins pick in the second round, which they got off a trade. That wasn't even originally their pick, but the trade they made got them the pick. J.K. should come in, take some carries in. I think he'd be a good fit with the offense. He'll replace Mark Ingram down the line. He'll get in rotation this year with Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. So we just had the best rushing offense, and just added another good runner to it. It's funny. I was comparing him to Ray Rice all season. I was telling people that like he reminds me of a more explosive Ray Rice. So I think it was funny that Baltimore actually ended up drafting him. Then late in the draft, somebody like James Porsche, a lot of people may not know, but the receiver from SMU, he's led the country in catches. Only has 3 drops during his whole career. So that's great hands for somebody who played 4 years of college football. Been starting since day one, and to have that many catches, he should come in and compete for special team return man competition off the jump with DeAnthony Thomas. That's something we've been looking for. And also another player is Devin Duvernay, receiver from Texas, 4.39 type guy. Another guy had a great career, heck, a lot of catches. He had 106 last year alone.
Right.
In his career, he only had 6 drops total in his 4 years. So when you bring 2 guys in like that, that shows they can constantly catch the ball, whether the catches are open, in traffic, contested. It doesn't matter. When guys like that show hands, it's needed. And what we're going to touch on later, them hands are needed for the Baltimore team.
All right. Let me get into the Bengals draft. I feel like, we did good picking Joe Burrow. That was expected. We got our new quarterback after Andy Dalton had to leave us. Well, after we traded him. And I feel like T. Higgins, he's gonna come in, show out. He's gonna be, our new AJ Green. Even though we still got AJ, but he's getting up there in age, and who knows if he wants to stay with us. If he does, we might have a Larry Fitz situation. But it'd be nice to have another talent in T. Higgins. And I really love that we attacked the linebacker because we always been weak in the linebacking core. So I really love that we got Logan Wilson. I haven't seen much of him. I'm hoping that from getting him that he is what they expect him to be. And Akeem Davis, I'm hoping he also shows up and shows out. I didn't think we really needed a DN, but you can never have too many people in the trenches. So and the guard. What was that? What was that? Offensive?
Yeah, I think y'all did draft offensive guard.
Yeah, we definitely need offensive line. We definitely need offensive line. And Marcus Bailey at the end, that that kind of just completed that linebacker core. So yeah, anyone want to take over for the Steelers or what they got?
Boo! I don't care nothing about the Steelers and what they got. No, uh, they boo. You get nothing from me. I was gonna try to be nice and optimistic about them, but I can't. If I'm gonna use this mouth and say things, it's not gonna be nothing about the Steelers besides boo. You can go ahead, coach.
Yeah, they had their draft. I can't remember their exact pieces off the top of my head, but they did draft some players
All right.
who did catch my attention and should make immediate impact on their team. But they also got a couple of young guys from last year that they drafted. They think could take the next step, like a player like Deontay Johnson or something who could possibly become their number one receiver. They didn't have a first round pick at all because they traded that for Minka. I know they don't regret that. He was a first team All Pro, so anytime you could trade your first round draft pick and get a young quality player who's an All Pro and has a bright future, I think they won't regret that. But they did draft something later in the draft, which should be quality to their team.
Okay. All right.
I'll give him credit for the Chase Claypool pick though from Notre Dame. He was a wide receiver that I like coming out.
Big body.
Big body. It's not going to replace Antonio Brown. I know they're a year removed from it, but I do think that they need to start getting away from that era and just adding more pieces to the Big Ben era that's going to transition to their next quarterback, whoever that may be.
All right.
I think that having somebody that's a big body is going to help you with any situation with any quarterback at any time. So just to be able to kind of do that and fill the pieces around them a little bit, that doesn't hurt.
My bad, G.
Oh, you good? And Anthony McFarland, he killed Ohio State, and usually when you kill Ohio State, you're not all right with me that game, but you're all right with me long term. So
Okay.
I remember him busting our tail and almost, willing them to victory, and that's saying a lot from a team like Maryland to be able to beat Ohio State or get close to beating them. So the Steelers love Ohio State players for some reason, and apparently players that kill Ohio State. So more power to them, but it still ends this sentence with a boo.
Piggybacking on what he was saying when I was thinking of their players, Anthony McFarland was the first one I thought of because he could come in and be a home run hitter. So the backpack off tee, he was talking about him being at Maryland. I'm a guy who follow college football recruiting like crazy, so I can
All right.
give you a little quick rundown on McFarland. So he's originally from that area. He's a 5-star running back, and as everybody know, I'm a Miami Hurricane fan, and he was silently committed to us till the day he committed to Maryland because he said his mind changed. He wanted to stay home. He didn't want to be that far away from his family. So he's one of them players who could have went anywhere in the country. Like O State was offered, Georgia, LSU, Florida State. Like check his high school stuff. He one of them players, but he just decided to stay home. So the talent always been there with him, and he always had that big playability. That's why I'm interested to see him on the Steelers because they haven't had a running back. James Conner had his shot, I feel like, last year to really take over the role when Le'Veon left, and I don't think he really took it over like they expect him to. Now, don't get me wrong, he did have his injuries and stuff like that. But I think with them drafting somebody like Anthony McFarland, that's letting him know, like, hey, we got a home run hitter who could score anytime he touched the ball. Like you said, you do that stuff against O State, you can play.
Yeah,
It don't matter. So he should be a real interesting piece for them. And that's kind of could be scary for us other AFC North teams. But yeah, Anthony McFarland is a ball player that they have that I'm interested to see.
with him, I kind of got that feel that year Khalil Mack played us and just dominated. They lost the game, but
Yeah,
the best player on that field that day was definitely Khalil
Yeah,
Mack. And that game against Ohio State, McFarland hands down was
kept
the
them
best
in that
player.
game.
Man,
Like
listen,
he kept them in that game.
he had some things to say to my Buckeyes, and it wasn't nice. So just to see that, and like you said, I agree with you on the Connor. I think he's more of a complimentary back
Yeah.
anyway. But you always need that lightning to your thunder,
Mm-hmm.
and James Conner is definitely the thunder. So if you bring McFarland in
Yeah.
there, he's lightning, he's rain.
And they have Samuels, who's from NC State. He's a player who could do a little bit of everything. Because at NC State, he played their running back, fullback. He plays some tight end. He played wide receiver. And I noticed the Steelers have kind of been using him in the H back kind of way. Sometimes he'll get some carries. Sometimes he'll line up offside the tight end. So I think that's a player they're going to do multiple things with. So it's interesting to see what the Steelers going to do. But like like you said, I really could care less for him. I am a Ravens fan.
Man, I feel sick to my
Just being,
stomach.
I'm just being honest with sports right now.
I said a lot of positive things about that team. I got enough things to worry about. I can't deal with another element over
Right.
here. Yikes. Let's move on, please.
I forgot to say at the beginning of the show, we are sponsored by Mojo Sports Gear, so check them out. And the talk about the Steelers, yeah, I'm with the same with you, T. I don't really want to talk about them at all. They always little brother us. So the only thing I will say is they need a quarterback because Big Man, he's not gonna last another decade. He's
Oh
not.
no, you could give that up. It might be 3 more years with him,
Yeah, and the backups that they do got,
if that.
who they got? Duck and who's the other backups they got?
Um,
I think they got JT.
Mason, pop you in the head,
Yeah, I was
Rudolph.
about to say, bro, got hit in the head with the
Watch your
helmet.
mouth. Watch your mouth.
Yeah.
Run up and get done up, Rudolph.
And I want to say I think they got JT Barrett. I want to say he's a backup, but I don't know if his talent's going to transition as a
Yeah.
starter. I don't know.
Scratch
That time I
that,
seen
big dog.
Barrett, he was bagging at Kroger's. So still love you, dog. Appreciate that Ohio State tenure, but yeah, you won't see him on the football field no time soon. I can guarantee you that.
Okay. Well, to move on, let's talk about free agency and the moves our teams had. All right, so I'll start off with the Bengals. I I wouldn't say we lost anyone like truly that important for us, but the players that we gained will help us. I know that much. We gained a lot on defense, and then I Mike Thomas. What receiver is that? Hold on.
That's
I want to say Jacksonville.
that's not who you think.
Yeah, I
it
know
is.
it's not that
Nah.
Mike Thomas.
Oh
But like, I didn't think we added to the receiver core at all. Cause
Yeah, y'all added something that
Yeah.
receiver.
I feel like we got a solid receiver core. So to add to that, I don't know what they're doing with that. But we definitely beef up the defense. Definitely that secondary. I love that we retained AJ, and I know they're still talking contracts, but I hope he does sign on for a long time. I really do. I know they're talking with Mixon, and I hope he signs on for a long time also, because I would hate to lose Mixon. I truly would. But yeah, all together, I would give us like a B, a solid like maybe B plus for off season moves. What about y'all?
Well, are you asking me on the Bengals' opinion, or are you asking me to speak on my team right
Y'all can talk on the Bengals' opinion.
now? The Bengals, they made some solid moves. Let a couple players go that they probably been should have let go, like Tyler Eifert, somebody who hasn't been healthy. Now, when he plays, he's good, but
All
it
right.
was time to eventually move on from there, especially since you guys drafted the tight end early last year from Texas A&M, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I want
So yeah, it was good to let that go. They signed a player like Von Bell, who their thing could be like it'd be like a hybrid type safety. You could play something in the box to cover a little bit.
Right. I mean, his speed. I don't think he's that fast.
Yeah, that's why he's gonna play more in the box and
Right.
be blitzing more. Trey Wayne should come in and add some competition at the cornerback at least. Denard hasn't been where he's been. I don't even know if you guys still have him, honestly.
Yeah, I want to say we still have him.
I think they let him go actually.
Fitzpatrick, Kirk J.
Yeah.
Patrick.
He signed with the Jaguars.
Okay, see, well, yeah, he's not even there no more because he hasn't lived up to expectations. So Trey Wayne is going to have to come in and play. Forget competing for competition. He's going to have to come in and play. Mackenzie Alexander, he should be a cool little nickel cornerback for y'all. He came from Clemson, played for the Vikings for a while, so that should be it. Josh Bynes, that's actually the linebacker that just left the Ravens. He's not going to be nothing spectacular for y'all just coming from our team, but he is a guy who's going to come in and do his job. He's going to know where to be. He could get lined up. We signed him off the street last year, and he came in and made some plays for us. So I think you guys did a solid job in the offseason, retained some players, brought in some new faces. So we'll see what the coach can get done in year two.
I wanted to say the biggest one that we did gain was DJ Reader.
Yeah.
He's gonna be decent down there with Lawson and Atkins, all them. Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna be more interested in seeing because I've never seen Gino with somebody next to him like Reader.
Right.
And Gino by himself is an
problem.
animal. So if you have somebody that can take some type of attention away from you and you can be able to use your speed and strength like Gino's always been able to do, double teamed. That's what was the beauty of him is he can still get it done being double teamed.
Yeah.
Now you have to pick your poison, and that's going to free up not only just him, that's going to free up the ends, the linebackers to be able to come in and make plays. I think that was a big part of why your linebacker core wasn't as great over the last few years.
Right.
You didn't have nobody that could really push the envelope like a next to a Geno that can open up the space for them. Now you do. I think that defense for you guys may come along a little quicker than the offense, at least year one, because the rookie quarterbacks take a little time to kind of develop. So
Right.
it's going to be very interesting to see. And I think they have another, I don't say throwaway year in Cincinnati, but they have a low expectation, high kind of ceiling.
Yeah, like no one's really expecting anything.
No, not at all.
Just
Especially
waiting
in
for
this
that
division.
defense and offense to glue. Yeah.
Give Joe Burrow his just due, and Zach can kind of come along with him. They can grow up together. So I'm very intrigued by the Bengals actually.
Yeah. All right. So what about you, Maurice?
So in Baltimore, it was a good offseason. Was able to franchise tag Matt Judon, who was our leading sack getter last year. He had 10.5 sacks at the outside linebacker position for us. He's been peaking for us these last couple of years as he's been in the league. We got Calais Campbell. We was able to finesse him from the Jaguars for a 5th-round pick. I think that's going to be something huge for us. Because if you look back last year, we struggled with playing good teams that had good running backs. Like you look at the 49ers game, their running backs kind of had their way with us. Brandon Williams and Michael Pierce really didn't do what we needed them to do up front this season. Tennessee, as me and T was speaking about off camera before this, they had their way in the postseason as well. So I think that Calais Campbell pickup will be great. One of the best defensive linemen in the league, and he from the U, so I'm going to love that. We were supposed to sign Michael Brockers, but he didn't pass his physical. Ooh, sorry. So he ended up going back to I was about to say St. Louis, the LA Ram. So that was it could have been a good fit because like he's great against the run as well. And as you can see, that was a big need for us at stopping the run. We wanted to address the defensive line and the linebacker position for us. We signed one of my personal favorite re-signings was Chuck Clark. Because if you don't really watch football and stuff like that, if you just pay attention to your team, you might not know who Chuck Clark is. But he's the reason we let Tony Jefferson go. He's better in coverage than Tony Jefferson. He forced 3 fumbles last year, had 3 interceptions. All our players call him the smartest player on the defense. So when you have somebody like Earl Thomas calling you that, it don't get no better than that. He called the plays for the defense. That's real rare for a safety. Usually it's somebody in your front 7, typically your middle linebacker. So signing Chuck Clark for the cheap deal we got, I think that would be great. We was able to re-sign Gus Edwards to a 1-year deal. How long that we will have Gus, we'll see. We were also able to re-sign Jimmy Smith. I think he'll be like our Brandon Clark role this year, the veteran in the secondary who could play a little bit of corner, a little bit of safety, but he's getting there up in age. So, we're not going to overpay him or do anything like that. We lost a couple guys. We traded our tight end Hurst to the Falcons, but that's not a bad pick when if you look at it like something like the Texans, they trade DeAndre Hopkins and get David Johnson, a 4th-round pick and whatever for DeAndre Hopkins, and we trade Hayden Hurst and we get a 2nd and 5th-round pick that end up playing out to be Calais Campbell and J.K. Dobbins. So
Right.
I'm not going to complain with that at all. So I think it was a good offseason move. I am hurt personally. We lost Marshall Yonder. Everybody know that's like my guy. Marshall Yonder was big for us. So we're interested to see who's going to step up there. We got the young guards we drafted last year and the young guards we drafted this year from Michigan. So there's going to be some competition there. But it was a solid offseason with free agents and the draft. I'll give us non-biasness because it's what I'm seeing on TV, probably like an A. I mean, we did have the best record in the league. We folded in the playoffs, but we added players, added more talent to go with the MVP. So I'm going to give the offseason grade an A.
I'll say this before I get on my team. That Calais Campbell pickup made me say words that I can't say on here. Great move. It's just, man, why didn't we do that? Why didn't we think of that? What in the world? Because that's, you said the right word, finesse.
Yeah, there was no other way to put that.
Finesse.
For a 5th-round pick, you gave us an All-Pro.
I will give you that. It was a finesse, but he's like 33 now. Like,
it's about
how
you
gonna
play.
have that?
It's about how you playing at that age. Like, this man just had 9 sacks last year.
I mean, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch him last year.
You got to speak on what you know. You can't speak on what you hear. You can't go off a team's record and think somebody garbage.
Oh no, I know he's still a beast. I'm just saying he's 33 on a 4-year deal. I don't know if he's gonna still be like that. But if you saying he's playing
Calais
different,
Campbell ain't 33 though.
yes, he's 30.
He
I'm looking at his
33.
age right now.
Okay,
He's
he's 33.
33.
Give you that.
I think the 4-year contract thing
It's not gonna be 4
that can
years.
be ripped up
Yeah.
any day. The moment he stops playing like he's playing, he
Right.
won't be in Baltimore
Especially
anymore.
with Baltimore. If you know Baltimore, the minute you don't play, oh, see, that's why we don't end up like these other franchises. We
Right.
quick to cut ties with you if you ain't playing good.
Yeah.
If you ain't, we not gonna overpay you. Like for example, I love C.J. Mosley,
Right.
but I knew we weren't about to pay him no $18 million a year, and that's why he ended up in the New York Jets uniform, and injured and out the playoffs.
You can do that when you draft well and you have and that's why it always starts at the top. So
Mhm.
I can, especially being a Brownie fan, I can agree that a lot of things that go wrong always
Yeah,
starts at the top,
it,
and that's
it starts at the
anything.
top.
Leadership, and we know living in the world that we live in, it starts at the top. If the leadership at the top ain't no good, then the rest of the things will just kind of falter, and that's what it happens around the league, and that's what separates Baltimore is that they do have great leadership. The Aussie leaving that we'll see because that transitions to a new era.
Eric DeCastro, but he been
But
under Ozzy the last 20
yeah,
years,
and that's
so he
exactly
know.
what I was gonna say. That's the beauty of that is that it's like they keep it in the family,
Mhm.
and you can keep that lineage going. So I mean, I don't have as many bad things to say as Baltimore as I do about the Steelers, even though they did steal our team, but we gonna leave that one
Right.
alone.
Like I got more respect for Baltimore.
It
I'll
is
talk
definitely a
about them.
respect thing,
Yeah.
so I'll give them that.
All right. What about you on the Browns?
Browns.
We did some things. We did what I thought we needed to do. Like I said earlier, Conklin was a huge pickup. Fun fact, back in 2016 we could have had him, but we traded down and
Yep.
picked up, what we needed to be able to kind of start building our team together and getting extra draft picks, stuff like that, to sign him 4 years later. So when I feel like we were ready to compete, back then we weren't ready to do nothing, but stink up the joint. So now, I mean, that helps. Austin Hooper was a big pickup, not just because of his hands and his ability to catch the ball, but he can block. And to me, that was outside of Freddie Kitchens. Our biggest problem over there in Cleveland was the fact that nobody knew how to block. We had a couple pieces there on the offensive line, mainly Treader and I'm forgetting his name right now, but our guard, they could block, but for the most part, we just didn't didn't take care of that area. Like Nick Chubb, he did more with less than a lot of running backs will be able to do. So I think being able to have another tight end that what can you do when the ball's not coming your way is beneficial. So it's like we have a star player kind of with Hooper, but he's also a role player. And
Right.
you can't forget about the Jarvis Landry
Nah, the
aspect.
best tight
He
end
blocked.
still got a block.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's mainly we took care of what we needed to take care of. We didn't try to be pretty. Picking up Andrew Billings was a good pickup because that's another depth piece on that D line. We already have a pretty good defensive line, but just to add another piece of depth, it definitely helps us out. Carl Joseph, he helps in that backfield. Sendejo, we took care of a lot of pieces that we needed, and also the Case Keenum situation. I don't think he necessarily pushes Baker or he's going to supplant you, replace or anything like that. But it's more so, if Baker doesn't do his job and handle his biz, then somebody else can come in and
Right. Like you got a
hold it
vet
down.
behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's more so Case Keenum's not the long term answer, but if you see Case Keenum out there in October, November playing football for the Browns, you know that this is the last year of Baker. So it's just one of them. Like you have to kind of keep them alert. And I think this is a big year for Baker because the quarterback class coming in this year, I like a lot better than I liked last year. So I think if you're going to try to replace him, you'll do it. Then you'll make this year a make or break year. So I think that my Browns gave him a lot of pieces to put together. I'm gonna give us a B just because I think last year we ended up with an A, and I personally even didn't think last year we deserved an A. I just think we took care of some skill positions, but our problems that I thought we would have, we did have, mainly the coaching and the offensive line not being able to do their job, and we ended up 6-10 because of that. So I think we had a B this year, but I don't think we needed an A offseason either. I think we needed just a solid offseason. It wasn't super pretty, but we got things done and took care of pieces that we needed to take care of. So I'm cool with it.
Okay. Um, just talk on the Browns. I didn't really watch y'all's moves on the off season, not like that. The biggest one was Hooper that I did see. Um, but it does really. It kind of looks like it kind of looks solid. Like y'all did make some moves. I don't think y'all really did anything impressive. Y'all were already an impressive team, so it was really the coaching position that I was watching, and I don't really think y'all got the coach, but you know he might get the job done. He might get the job done.
It's better than what he had, and that was just pretty much kind of where we went with it. I think
Right.
because it came down to Stefanski and Kitchens last year,
Right.
and I just think this is what happens when you reward mediocrity. Freddie Kitchens made us look okay last year, but it's a different chair you're sitting in. When you're interim, I think he coached last year like he wanted the job, and he did some things that was a little different. I think this year when he was a head coach, he outsmarted himself a lot. He tried to do things that he wasn't capable of. He instead of just hand the ball to Nick Chubb, you need 1 yard. Instead of doing
Right.
that, I want to play action, drop back 5 steps, and then throw it 30 yards. That doesn't make any sense. You're outsmarting yourself. Sit down somewhere, and that's what got him fired. So it's mainly if Stefanski can come in and he doesn't really need to be special. He needs to continue what this offseason was and just be solid. You just need to be able to get the ball into your playmakers' hands. You have Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. There's not many teams out there that have that combination of skill out there. You have Nick Chubb and you have Kareem Hunt. There's not many teams out there with that. You have Austin Hooper. There's not many teams that you can say pound for pound skill position talent that they're par with the Browns. So that's why it will be now Baker's fault. It had to be Kitchens that had to sit on the knife last year. This will be Baker. So if we can't get it done this year, it may be a wholesale change that way. So as long as he's solid and does what he needs to do, man, we should be pretty good.
Okay. What about you, Coach? What you think on the Browns?
Yeah, I think they made some good solid pickups. Like T said, they filled in some the little things that a lot of fans are not gonna pay attention to. 'Cause
Right.
a lot of fans gonna pay attention to like the skill players and stuff. But to address the needs on the line with signing Copeland, that was a great signing. Then followed it up with the draft pick on the O line, so that tells you right there what they were looking for. I think the Browns had a pretty solid offseason. Like he said, now it's all gonna fall on Baker. Like at this point, what else do you need? You got the skill players. I mean, honestly, I think it could have fell some on him last year, if we're being honest,
Right.
because he had the skill players. There was time the Browns were in games, and he just didn't play up to par. You feel me? It's just nothing else you could really say about it. So now it's really going to be on Baker's shoulder. And like he said, this is a better quarterback draft class this year. So it could be your make or break, or if you don't, you got somebody like Sam Howell coming out next year. So that could be somebody.
You think that gonna be a sleeper?
Oh, it's not Sam Howell's not no
Nah,
sleeper.
he
If you don't know who Sam Howell is, you better go watch college football. That's a problem with like a lot of Ohio. They like only watch Big Ten
Only
football.
one, yeah.
So like if you don't know who Sam Howell is, he's gonna be like
I might have to check
a
him
top 3 pick in 2 years.
out. Okay.
Like you might as well go ahead and cut that on now. So that's somebody that could be for. So I think it was a pretty good offseason for the Browns. They made some solid moves, addressed the needs they need to make. So we're gonna see what they're gonna do this year.
Tell you one thing, Baker Mayfield needs to send Jameis Winston some flowers, some candy, an edible arrangement, something, because that's why Baker doesn't get talked about as much. Jameis Winston threw 30 of them.
Yeah,
Baker was right behind him. With
literally.
21. You know what I mean? So it's if you give in the same thing I said about Jameis is exactly why I think that Tom Brady will take Tampa to the Super Bowl or at least close to it because you don't need Tom Brady to be spectacular. You just need him not to throw 30 interceptions.
Right.
Same thing with Baker. If Baker throws 11 interceptions, you have a whole different football team. Whole football season. He threw 21 of them. And not all of them was Freddie Kitchens' fault. Sometimes Baker Mayfield does exactly what Jameis Winston does. Try
They
to
got
make
that
the
gunslinger
pass.
mentality.
Yes, man. Sometimes you just need to throw it to your playmaker for 5 yards and let him get 15.
Baker Mayfield wasn't lying when he said Brett Favre was his favorite quarterback.
Absolutely.
Because you could tell he tried to play just like it. Like
Right.
I don't know if you could tell, like in the face or my expression, I was never huge on Brett Favre.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not huge on Baker Mayfield neither.
All right. So y'all want to talk to Steelers?
Yeah, we can talk to Steelers with the
Yeah, I guess
offseason
this
moves
is
they
the
made.
Nutty North. By the way, anybody in these comments, come with it. Are you a Steeler fan? You feel like you need something to say? Go ahead and put it in the comments. Throw your input. That's what we do here. We love all kind of fan interaction. Not big on the trolling, but hey, if you feeling froggy, leap so can eat your face. But otherwise, go ahead and throw your opinions out there. I don't have no problem with it, but I guess we can talk some Pittsburgh Steelers
I'll say
stuff.
they did a good. They re-signed, well, not re-signed, franchise tag Bud Dupree. They was able to re-sign Vance McDonald, who I think is he's a pretty solid tight end. Feel
Yeah.
like he could be underused, and I see they brought in Eric Ebron as well, so it looks like they're gonna try to go a little two more set right there on the tight end, and get. You could tell they want to get back to the old Steeler way because they signed Derek Watt to a 3-year deal. We traded on Chris Wormley, who was a starting defensive line. Well, he wasn't a starting defensive lineman for us, but he played a lot, was in rotation, and know how to do his job. So you could tell they want to get back to the Steeler ways. I think somebody like Javon Hargrave, though, is a big loss. I think he was well, I ain't going to say big, but I think it's a loss that could play an impact for them because he was somebody who made noise on the defensive line next to Stephon Tuitt right there. I thought that was a good little combination they had. They lost Nick Barnett, who really didn't do much, but like I said, they replaced him with Eric Ebron. So the Steelers, I would probably give them like an overall grade of like a C,
Right.
C plus or something. They didn't do nothing too flashy, but you could tell they are trying to get back to the knees. They didn't have too much money, I don't think. They didn't have too many draft picks, but they did make trades. But the Steelers made some pretty decent moves to the team.
I'm just mad they let go of Artie Burns. I love just watching him get cooked every week.
I did. All right. So I gotta. He from the U. I gotta rep my boys when they doing good and when they
No,
doing
son.
bad. Artie, boy, that boy got cooked every play. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing,
Did
bro?
they hold up? Did they replace him though? No, they didn't get a cornerback.
But okay, T. So while we speaking of the free agent move still and the Browns, so like, what you think y'all gonna do with the Joker?
He'll probably be gone for like a fourth or fifth rounder. Because in the Joker can play. It's just that
Inconsistent.
it's that, and you have to balance out. Is it the young? That's why he inconsistent, or is it the fact that his potential just hasn't? I mean, this is what he is. Because he when we drafted him it was about potential.
Oh
He
yeah.
had all the traits. He could be good, but it was always his hands aren't there yet,
Oh,
and that's something that's a concern.
trust me, I know.
Like I have that Michael Kidd, different sport, but Michael Kidd Gilchrist kind of thing.
Like, I
Like
get what you're
if he
saying.
can shoot, well, that's not something that you just gain. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, his catching is better than Gilchrist
oh,
shooting.
absolutely. My
Okay.
shooting is better than
Okay.
Gilchrist shooting.
But I think y'all could probably get like a third or fourth because I think a team will bite on the young potential, the talent that's all there, and like you see when he do play for y'all to play. I think he could have had a real good year for y'all last year, but when you just talked on your quarterback making throws, he set the man up to get his wrist broke.
Yeah, that's true. I just and I agree with you on that one that it could be between the third and the fifth, just depending on
Yeah,
how you look at it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like shallow how.
yeah, for sure.
Some people may look at you and think, oh yeah, if I can, if I believe in my coaching, then I feel cool with giving the third round for it. If I'm not that happy about my coaching, but I know I need a tight end. We're
And
talking for a fifth rounder.
I think that's what y'all gonna do. You're gonna regret it. I think y'all gonna give him away. Could I be a little biased because he came for sure? But I think y'all gonna like probably get like a fourth, fifth, and like he's gonna go to an offense where like they use his talent because like he's one of them after the catch guy. Throw him a bubble screen, he could
Oh yeah,
like. So I think a team will really use him. I think y'all guys were too like trying to use him too much as like a traditional tight end and always want to line him up on the line. Like that ain't what got him. Trust me, I watched it. That ain't what got him a first round pick. It wasn't. It was the orthodox of what he could do at the tight end position. Is where you could line him up out wide and he run a 9 route. Where you could line him up in the slot and he take advantage of the linebacker tight end mismatch. But the same problems he had for the Browns was the same problem he had in Miami. I never understood a player who could make the flashy catches but to drop the ones that hit you right in the numbers. And David the Joker has been like that for years now. And I just never get it. But the potential's all there. I wasn't shocked he asked for the trade because I think y'all like what we was just talking about before this. I think like y'all get into a problem where y'all loading up on too much talent. You remember that time the Eagles had that crazy offseason and everybody's like, this is a dream team. They done added this, that, and the third. I think it started with that. I think where it went wrong, y'all got two guys that want to be the number one receiver, and they not gonna say it because they best friends, but I think that's a problem right there. Somebody got to take the back seat, and if we being real, gotta be Landry. We know he's not Odell.
Yeah, I just think that with them, it's more so somebody else has to be the one, and Baker Mayfield has to show that he can be that to be like, all right, I'm the one that can divvy up who gets the
Yeah,
ball, and you're going to be the number one on certain nights. You're not whatever, and make it happen that route.
yeah,
But you have to have an offense that's explosive to be able to do that.
for
Like
sure.
when you have that much talent, you can't be in a position where you're not holding up your end of the bargain. Now, granted, I believe a big thing what happened last year is when Mason Rudolph got the oops upside your head because Miles
Miles
Garrett
Garrett
is
was one.
a huge piece of that puzzle.
Yeah,
So I think at the end of the day, that is when the tailspin started more than anything. But it's more so you have to be explosive on both sides of the ball. And I think that Baker, they're in the trenches with him, they're in the huddle with him, but it's hard to believe him. And last year, Beckham didn't do what he needed to do, even though he had 1,000 yards. He could have been way better than he was. Landry didn't really do what he needed to do, even though he had 1,000 yards. He could have been better than what he is. Kareem Hunt coming in a little bit late, I think that hurt too because we didn't have a full year off season and all that.
yeah.
And that's where COVID may come into play too, depending on how the off season goes. That may hurt us. I think that's what will help you guys
I
because you don't need that much of a training
Yeah.
camp. You guys know what you do, know how to play, and whatnot. But I think going back to Njoku, it depends on what we do with that. I know I was seeing something about Ngakwe that may be a possibility. I don't know how much smoke there is to that. But if that gets pulled off and we get better that way, because I don't think you necessarily get better when you get rid of Njoku.
No,
To
yeah,
be
I get
honest
what
with
you're
you,
saying.
I didn't think tight end was an urgent
It wasn't.
thing that
That's
we
why I was
needed.
so shocked y'all went out and grabbed Hooper. Like I understand the player he is, but like you said, I don't think because even the Joku, the falls tight end y'all got, he could block and
Yeah.
got solid hand. Excuse me. Even the third string tight end y'all had playing after that was like I didn't think tight end was a position of need for the Browns.
Now, you can find one too,
Yeah.
though, somewhere. So
Yeah.
it's more so. But Joku did. He has a contract coming up, that 5th-year option. We picked it up, but I just think that it was going to become the time that we are going to have to pay him anyway.
Yeah.
I'm more of a believer in just letting players walk and getting the compensatory picks. Don't use your eligibility as much as you can, and then
we good for that.
Absolutely. But that's why you guys are where you are, because that's the way of using all your resources.
Yeah.
So I just think that depending on what we do with the Njoku and if we can get better from that, because if we get rid of him for third, fourth round of next year, that doesn't necessarily make us better this year.
Yeah.
So it's just to see how things go with that. But I think, speaking of landing spots, I think Kansas City wouldn't be a bad spot for Njoku just to be the second tight end. Kelsey's already going to take all that attention, and you got Project Pat Mahomes that's ready to give the ball to whoever, whenever, however.
Yeah.
So somebody else that takes attention from a Travis Kelsey, so he can be able to, because he has all the attention now.
Yeah.
But to be able to get something off of him and be able to really shine the way he needs to shine, and the Joker can, get off of that too, because Tyreek Hill's gonna be double teamed. Kelsey's gonna have the attention. Sammy Watkins still demands some attention. And Patrick Mahomes is one of those guys that whoever you can put out there, you can put us all three out there, and he can go ahead and give us
The
some.
teams
Man,
I seen the most with Njoku that they said y'all been. It could be something right there. The Cowboys and the Packers. The Cowboys, I can see that being the most realistic trade. They don't have a tight end. They just got rid of Jason Witten. Well, not just got rid of him, but he signed with the Giants. But they have a tight end, but they don't have that tight end. So I think that's why I think the Cowboys could be where a spot he ends up landing. But I don't think they'll give up. I can see them giving y'all a third round pick because that's Jerry Jones when he wants something, he kind of gonna go get it. So
Well,
I can see them doing that.
according to Justin McKee on Facebook, he says Njoku can come to NOLA.
Yeah, that would be a great fit for him too. Shout out Yak too. I know who that is. But yeah, New Orleans will be a great fit for them as well. They don't have a tight end.
Right.
And with their tradition with Miami tight ends, you see what they did with Jimmy Graham using tight ends.
Is he still on?
Nah, he played for the. He just signed with somebody. He signed with the Bears.
Yeah,
he signed with the Bears. But you see how they use Jimmy Graham? They never was using him like as an online tight end. They used him in the slot and things like that. So that's something David Njoku could go do well in New Orleans as well.
Right. Okay. Well, we're gonna go to a quick break, real quick, and we'll be back to talk. I want to say position battles and training camp.
Training camp.
All right. All right, my bad. We back. We back. All right, so we're gonna talk training camp battles. One of y'all want to take it away?
It's my biggest thing about training camp battles this year is I think a lot of incumbents may be able to keep their spots just because I think COVID's going to be such a big thing. Because the less I have to teach you, the better it's going to be because we don't know how this is going to go. We don't know how training camps are going to be, how position groups are going to be, how is the team. There's so many unanswered questions. Even up to this point, we don't know. So I think more than anything, I can't really pinpoint one training camp battle I'm looking to outside of maybe Cincinnati's the receiving core.
Right.
T. Higgins and John Ross. I personally think he takes his job because John Ross, how many times can you try to depend on this man to stay healthy and do some things for you? I think that's a big reason why they picked up T. Higgins. I just don't think Cincinnati wants to admit that they wasted the top 10 pick. So John
You
Ross,
gotta admit it, it's right there.
yeah,
Y'all
it's
see
in
it.
your face.
I mean, I wouldn't say we
You
wasted
have
the top
to
10
say
pick.
your word.
I wouldn't say.
As he hasn't even gave y'all a season in 3 seasons.
Nah. I mean, like, I
Waste
feel
of a pick.
it. All right. It kind of is a waste of a pick, but I blame that more on Marvin Lewis than anything. Because his first year there, Marvin he didn't use him for what he needed to use him for.
You know why he didn't?
Why?
He was injured.
He was injured for what? Part of the season? He was still playing at one point.
I thought John Ross broke his foot his first year. I thought he missed his whole first season.
No,
he was on the bench. He was in the doghouse pretty much the first season. He was banged up though. He started.
yeah, he was banged up, but we put him in at times. Like he just used him as a deep threat, just because of his speed. I remember that one.
Yeah, one trick pony.
Pretty much, and I think that may help him if Zach Taylor looks at him and says, "All right, put him on kick return, punt return."
That's where they messed up hiring Zach Taylor because he was under Sean McVay.
Right.
Because he wasn't the actual quarterback coach. So I never seen what was the thing in Zach Taylor.
Well, that's that hard eye emoji thing though.
Like
it's you seen Sean McVay doing different things, and you looked at the rest of that staff and said, "Well, I can't get Sean McVay, but I get the free."
Like, nah, it don't.
But that's
Like,
the culmination of that though.
Nah,
like
for real.
you can't get the baddie, but I just take the friend because the friend maybe, but maybe don't get you the wins. You know what I mean? Like you have to get the for sure thing.
All right,
so.
relax on my coach. Right?
I'm just saying. It may be like.
I mean, I get what y'all saying. I do get what y'all saying, but he my coach for right now, so
that's my coach.
I feel you gotta support your coach.
You gotta support him.
Yeah, and I think he could possibly do good things just because you have some talent there. You have your guys. Like they built a team around Zach Taylor to grow with.
He got his quarterback and everything now, so
there's no excuses.
I mean, this year if we do, I might give him a little leeway, but I will be on him.
They have to be better. I'm not saying that they have to be.
Like
nobody expects the Bengals to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not expecting that, but if we don't at least get 5 wins,
5 or 6, something gotta shake.
That's improvement right there. Because there's enough veteran talent in that room. There's enough, especially AJ Green. Because personally, I thought that was the biggest detriment to your entire team.
Right, we didn't have
AJ Green is the pecking order. If you got AJ Green, then Tyler Boyd doesn't have to be amazing. Tyler Boyd ain't never going to be amazing, but he's going to be solid.
Yeah, he's a solid number 2.
So if he can be a number 2, cool. Then you can have T. Higgins as your 2-3. Because I think with T. Higgins there, Tyler Boyd goes to the slot. At least more into the slot.
He definitely plays in the slot more.
So now your 3-headed monster is good. Joe Mixon's a dog, flat out.
I don't think he lived up to expectations last year.
He did.
I mean, he struggled to begin with, but he finished solid at the end.
He ain't scored a touchdown to like week 13.
Yeah.
He's out here talking about he's the best running back in the league.
Potential and
the year before he was looking like the best running back, but he had a slump. He'll be back though. He'll be back.
But I think that's a big part of that too. Is just AJ Green. Now you have somebody that can take attention off of that.
I know AJ. I know all about AJ Green. He kills us. Oh man,
that's
oh my goodness. If there's one player that I'm nervous that we play, it's AJ Green.
Adriel Jeremiah.
Like, no more that 3 touchdowns. What was it? First quarter?
Man,
like 3 touchdowns.
I can't say on camera, but stressed.
Like
stressed. Yeah, bro. AJ Green stresses me out. We can even go back to 2012 when he caught the tip Hail Mary at the end of the game. AJ Green really stresses me out. Like he really stresses me out, bro.
He's a
really
bad
does.
man, and that's what happened last year. I feel like is when you take him out of that mix for the whole entire year. Now that helped him get Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
and Joe Burrow is going to help him this year because you have a guy like AJ Green that you can depend on. You have a Tyler Boyd that you can depend on. You have a Joe Mixon that you can depend on. His name is forgetting me now, but Jonah Williams. That's like another
The
first round
tackle.
pick. Yeah, he
Right.
didn't play
And
one
he
down
was
last
injured all
year.
last year too.
So you add that to the mix. That's why I think they have to go into at least a 5-win category because you have enough. You
Right.
lost too much last year, and then you're going from a different head coach. Like Marvin Lewis had his faults, but Marvin Lewis was the Cincinnati Bengals, and he had them. He had them to a point where making not winning in the playoffs was a thing because prior to Marvin Lewis, not making the playoffs was a huge thing.
Right.
So to be able to have the expectations be that big, then you bring in Zach Taylor in where they were trying to lose. We all know that. That's why you bring in the young coach. That's why you get rid of who you got rid of, and you didn't really try to bring any talent in there. I knew that they were trying to win because of the Reader move. Because now we're showing that we're picking up a Reader is a win move.
Right.
That's not going to be pretty flashy. ESPN is not going to break your news that, but that helps you win in December. And I think they're trying to make moves to get there. Personally, I thought they should have went Chase Young last year in the draft
As an
because
overall pick, the
yeah,
first overall.
because I love this quarterback class. It has not that much to do with Joe Burrows. It's just that I felt like if you're not about to win now, you can hold off.
Right.
I kind of look at it similar with the Browns. Like, although I was a big Patrick Mahomes guy, I always thought that year that the Browns should have picked Myles Garrett because that's just the best player in the draft. And then you can get your quarterback a little bit later when you don't. You build your team. And I think that right now they're in a situation where Cincinnati's kind of going the same. They could have went the same route and then got a quarterback later, and then you would have had a team built around them to be able to compete. But now that they do have their quarterback, it never hurts. So to see them kind of bring the best of the Joe Burrow year one by having the talented pieces around them, I think that won't hurt. And just having AJ Green be able to take that over, that should be able to kind of help him in that role. So we'll
Right.
see. We'll see how Cincinnati
So
does.
the only position battle you really think is on offense with the receiving core.
Yeah, and that's just a slot area because like I said, I think a lot of incumbents keep their jobs, so it's just more so. I don't. They may not be a training camp. Who knows? Training camp may be like a week or two because they're trying to hurry up and do this COVID thing, and you're gonna have to come to the dance with the girl you trust and the girl you know. And I think with a lot of teams, they're going to look at it that way. Especially now, the quarterback situation is different in Cincinnati, but the pressure is different in Cincinnati too where you don't have to necessarily like I'm thinking of Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles kind of situation. Like that's not AFC North, but I think that that's a battle where maybe Mitch Trubisky wins because Nick Foles is gonna have to come along.
Okay. Well,
Where
speaking on battles outside of the AFC North, Justin asked about the QB battle in Washington.
between Haskins and who's the backup?
I I don't remember. I really don't.
And there's your answer. It's gonna be Haskins. I mean, I don't. If you're going to replace Haskins or have a quarterback battle, I think that's where you pick up a Cam Newton.
Right.
For Cam Newton not to go there because Ron Rivera is there, and I think that you can legitimately say, I didn't draft Haskins. I don't want Haskins to be there. I know Cam Newton though. Let me bring him in. Now that's a battle. If you
But
can't name the backup,
I could see why kind of bring up the Washington quarterback thing because, like you said, he didn't draft Haskins. That doesn't have to be his guy. So how you just said this is Baker's make or break year, they could be looking at this as well. This is gonna be the year we see if we keep Haskins or not. Because, like you said, I don't think the Redskins will be a playoff team or a contending team. Do I think they got a little better? Yeah.
Oh, it's Alex Smith.
With the pieces they have.
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen.
It's one of them.
See,
oh yeah.
Now that could be interesting because that's Ron Rivera's guy.
Yeah.
He signed him from Carolina.
Yeah.
So if Haskins get to acting up quick, he could pull him and put Kyle Allen in there. But I think it will be Haskins. But this could be his make or break year with them because Washington, that's not the staff who drafted him. He also really didn't play too good last year in the time he did play. It's like, is he really that good of a quarterback, or was it the Paris Campbells? Was it the Terry McLeans and them taking them dump routes and taking them 40 yards and 30 yards scoring touchdowns? So that's what you get to thinking about with Haskins. So I think he personally, 100%, I want him to succeed. He's a black quarterback. So if I'm gonna keep it all the way real, I would love to see him succeed. So that's that. But we gonna see how does the Redskins feel, because like we said, that's not their guy they drafted. So Ron Rivera could look at it as, I don't want this guy when I could go get a Justin Fields, another Ohio State quarterback to replace him,
Right.
a Trevor Lawrence, a Trey Lance from North Dakota State. Like, them are gonna be the three top quarterbacks, I feel like. And then you got somebody like Brock Purdy from Iowa State that everybody love as well.
Purdy,
So
man.
this could be Haskins' make or break year in that quarterback situation.
Mrs. Purdy. Yeah, I mean, and I can definitely agree with that. I could see him going that Tebow route, where Tebow was the guy,
Yeah.
but new regime come in. You don't hear nothing about Tebow. That Jimmy Clausen, same thing. Robert Rivera got him up out of there, bringing Cam Newton in. So
yeah, if it's
it
not
don't
your
matter.
guy, they don't have to. They don't have to stay with him. Honestly, we've
Right.
seen how this played out in the NFL multiple times.
Yeah, I think Haskins knew that too because he reshaped his body a lot.
He's been working a
Yeah,
lot.
he's definitely been working.
One thing I would love to see more when I do see is him actually with his receivers.
Yeah,
And not always working with other receivers. Like, I understand it's good to throw regardless, but like start building that chemistry with your guy. You feel me? Like, why I haven't seen a video with him and Terry yet is beyond me. When y'all both played at O State, y'all both play for the Redskins, but I see you all the time throwing to Miko Hardman.
yeah.
He don't play for you. He play for Patrick Mahomes. He's gonna eat regardless. So like, just build some chemistry with your guys. That's like, I love to see him working out, getting in shape, and all that. But like, let's just see that. I would love to see what your actual guys.
So you think he gonna have a second season like Lamar did?
No. If any,
Well, not exactly
you
like
want to,
Lamar. Like
if somebody
proof.
could have a season like that, it's Kyler Murray.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray.
Especially
I
with
like
Hopkins.
Kyler Murray. I think he could have a big jump and possibly, of course, like the do what Lamar did. You gotta have team success.
Right.
You're not just gonna get an MVP without team success. But stat wise, I can see Kyler Murray making that jump. I'm a big Drew Lock fan. Like, I liked him since he was at Missouri. To be honest,
I mean, he got
with
an
you.
arm, but
Yeah, he got an arm. He kind of got a little cockiness to him too that I
Right.
like. And they got him some weapons. He got Cortland Sutton. They got Jerry Jeudy. They got KJ Hamler. They got Noah Fant. Like, they're getting people for their quarterback to actually get the ball too.
Okay.
So I like that. So them is some quarterbacks I think could have a big jump, a second year jump. But do I think anybody will have like a second year jump like Lamar Mahomes did and win MVP? I
Right.
don't think so, because I think possibly one of them could win MVP again. If we're being honest with you, then you got somebody like Deshaun Watson, how far he could get the Texans. So it's multiple people that could win MVP, but like out of the second year quarterbacks, I think Kyler Murray and Drew Lock, I expect them to take the biggest lead.
okay.
I think you have to be legendary too to be able to, like, Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are both legendary with what they do.
Yeah.
You won't find too many people with the legs that Lamar Jackson has, and that he has arm talent. It's just not that pinpoint accuracy arm talent. It's that bazooka though. Pat Mahomes, he comes strapped. So it's more so that with the Kyler Murray, I agree wholeheartedly because you have DeAndre Hopkins.
That and his offense is catered to him.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, when you
Like
you
Lamar.
build it, you catering to your guy. Like, and he gives me Russell Wilson vibes. Like, when I look at him, I see Russell Wilson all over again.
Who?
Kyler Murray.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I think that's why I'm so big on him, because I think, me personally, I got Russ as a top 2 quarterback.
Right.
Like, I love Lamar, but I don't got him as he's my number 3. But I got Mahomes and Russell Wilson 1 and 2. I actually got Russ 1.
Okay.
But I love that. So that's what I look when I see Kyler Murray. I see Russell Wilson all over again. I think that's why.
Yeah, I can see that. And then he got Hopkins now, so
Yeah, they
that
got
helps.
Christian Kirk. They got Larry Fitzgerald, who's still catching. He has more tackles in his career than he has drop passes. That should tell you something. For some, like, don't get no better than that.
Right.
I love me some Fitz, man. Like, you talk about do it the right way.
That's do it the right
That
way.
dude does it the right way.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love to see, and that's where I think it's going to screw up a Dak Prescott, because you have to take advantage when you're not paying him much.
Yeah.
And I think with Kyler Murray, Arizona was smart to say, oh, let's build a team around him that's ready to win now, because we have to take advantage of the situation. You know, speaking of Russell Wilson has 1 title, and that was when he was on that rookie contract.
Mhm.
You know, we were able to build a dominant team around him, because once we have to start paying him, people are going to leave.
Yeah, people are going to leave. That takes a hit. That's
So it's
yeah,
always
that
the
affects
smartest.
team, for sure.
And I mean, to your point about Haskins, that's why you have to find out now.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to be that guy, I don't want to have to pay Baker too. I don't want to have to pay you $20 million a year, especially now.
Because quarterbacks, you ain't no cheap way of paying them.
Never. And
Like,
if you paying a quarterback cheap on that second contract, he ain't what you want him to be anyway.
at all.
You know,
You'll be
so
drafting your future quarterback
All
again.
right. Well, to bring it back to the AFC North position battles, any other team you think got it?
Speaking for us, as in the Ravens, I think wide receiver will be a
Right.
good position battles for us because if you watched the playoffs last year, we dropped at least 7 passes. My boy Willie Snead, who I love, who usually moved the chains, he
Mhm.
was dropping passes. Mark Andrews dropped a couple passes for us. We had Chris Moore drop a couple passes for us, but I think Hollywood is going to take that next step. He's been putting in crazy work this offseason. He's gotten a lot bigger. I think he'll become the number one for us. But then after that, I'm interested to see what like somebody like Miles Boyd can do for us. Is he going to take that next step? The two receivers I mentioned earlier, they're going to come in and take immediate play time because we don't have no receiver that's just you going to be like, oh, that's who the Ravens got at receiver. We fear that. I
Right.
mean, we love Hollywood, but he ain't really put that fear in nobody. Yeah, he showed the
I
big play.
mean, other than that speed, yeah, you're right. He hasn't put any fear in
Yeah,
this
you feel
one.
me? So like, he gotta show more for him to really like
Right.
teams fear him as that number one. I mean, he had a great playoff game. He had the 8 catches for like 115 yards. So I think he showed what he could do there. And I think my expectations for him are so high because like he was never 100% last year.
Right.
He played the whole season with screws in his foot at 70%. So now that we finally could get him at the number one receiver, and that's who Lamar actually wanted like this whole time. So that guy right there. So I'm interested to see what our receiver competition to be like. I know we're going to have a good competition at running back as well. I think Mark Ingram will still be the lead guy, but I'm interested to see who's the two because people forget Gus Edwards almost had 700 yards last year. People forget how good Justice Hill played them last couple of games as Alex Browns and Steelers fans when he came over and took from Mark Ingram. And to draft somebody like J.K. Dobbins, who is Ray Rice all over again, is interested to see what he do. So I think the running backs and receiver competition for us is going to be real competitive during the training camp.
Okay.
I think the biggest training camp battle that I was going to see with my Browns is the Joker's taking himself out of it. I thought it was going to be between him and Harrison Bryant to see who's going to be that number two tight end. I thought that's why we brought in Harrison Bryant. Njoku was on the, I don't necessarily say the chopping block, but I think Njoku was, his days were numbered, so to speak. So I think he sensed that too.
Who's y'all number one?
Austin Hooper.
You just automatically giving it to him?
I
When
mean,
you
if you
go
pay him
pay
11
somebody
million
like
a
that in
year,
free agency,
yeah, I would
except
hope
if
so.
you're Matt Flynn.
I didn't even see his contract.
Yeah, Matt Flynn, you got paid, and Russell Wilson took his job.
Yeah.
That's history. But yeah, usually when you pay somebody big like that, you're going to play them
Definitely.
as a starter.
So I mean, I thought Njoku, he knew it was coming, and he just wasn't confident that he was going to beat him out. And I think that, especially you can understand it too from a money perspective because if I'm coming into a contract year and I'm trying to get paid, and you bring another tight end in after another tight end, that's you're telling me what you need to tell me right then and there. I'm not here to be like I'm here to help your team win this year or do things for you this year, but you're not here necessarily to help me go to my next level. Now, some of that's his fault. Accountability is a big thing with me. So you have to admit that you didn't play as well as you should have been playing. But at the same time, I can't knock him too much for wanting to do what's best for him. And that, in this case, that's what it is. Now, me personally, I'm a competitor, so I'm more so bring it on. Whoever, whenever, however, let's do it. But that's me. In Joku, he probably looks at it in a different way. I need to get paid. I need to do what I need to do for me and my family. So let me get up out of here. So somebody else, if I want to be a number two anywhere, I'd rather be a number two where I'm going to get the ball a lot, or I'm going to be able to still make an impact, not a third tight end and well, or what have you. So I just think that was probably the biggest training camp battle. I think for the most part, maybe Vernon would have had a situation, but now they re-upped him and signed him to a guaranteed contract. So I think that takes that out of the mix. But just to see the tea leaves and going after Jadeveon Clowney, I think we were trying to replace Olivia Vernon, but we weren't able to, so we just decided to go ahead and pay him.
Shout out to Olivier Vernon.
Was that another?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
But he can play though, so
I'm gonna put it. I don't care what team you in the NFL.
Right.
If you a Miami guy, I'm going to say it. Even you see, I just said it with bad. It's already Burns.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it.
Well, I mean, you kind of hit the needle on the head, T, with the Bengals. I would have loved if they kept Andy Dalton to see that battle, but the receiver battle is probably the biggest thing for us in training camp. So let's talk Steelers. Looking at them,
I think they're to touch on them, I think the running back
Right.
position is going to be a good one. I think the receivers, because last year Juju didn't take the step everybody thought he would take.
Well,
Like
he got injured, didn't he? Towards the
yeah,
end.
but still, he still was playing. You
Yeah,
feel
you
me?
played
Like
before.
it's an like he was expected to replace AB. It's always easier when you're the number two receiver and not the main guy to focus is on.
Right.
So he could have a bounce back year. I'm interested to see that. Like he said, they drafted Claypool from Notre Dame, who I think probably going to come in and get play time for them. Me personally, I like Deontay Johnson a lot for them. He's a receiver who could do everything. You can play him inside, outside. So I think their skill position battles will be interesting because even at the tight end, they signed Eric Ebron, they re-signed Vance McDonald. So I think their skill competitions will be pretty good battle because I think their defense is kind of set. They had one of the best defenses in the league. It was real slept on, but the defense is really good out there in
All right.
Pittsburgh.
You don't think the tight end position is going to be a battle between Ebron and
Yeah,
McDonald?
McDonald. Yeah, I
Okay.
think all their skill positions, tight end, receiver, and running
Okay.
back, they're all open up in the air.
I think Steelers wise, this really is the backup quarterback situation. Like that's more so where I think the biggest competition is. I mean, I'm not a
Being hurt again.
yeah. That's I didn't understand the Dobbs move last year because I thought he was better than any quarterback they had on the roster outside of Big Ben, but I mean, they got rid of him. So I just think that it's so important to me because Big Ben's not guaranteed. Big Ben wasn't guaranteed to play 16 when he was in his prime.
Yeah, for real.
So now, watch Big Ben. Like I don't know how long he will be able to, sustain this. I don't know how long he'll be able to play. One
Right.
hit may take him out. So when that happens, you'll end up spiraling again because you don't have a quarterback. Now, one thing that may be in their favor is the extra spot for the playoff because last year if it
They
was
would've
like
been
that, they
that
would have been
team.
in the playoff. So even without having a good quarterback, a good backup quarterback, and the other one would have did his head. Shout out to my guy Miles again for that one. Keep it pimping player. But
You gonna celebrate that?
I'm always celebrate that because at the end of the day, if you run up on me, you gonna get done up flat
Right.
out. So I don't care if you're on a football field, basketball field, in my neighborhood, wherever you run up, you getting done up. So at the end of the day, he should have known better. Mason Rudolph knew for a fact you weren't about to be able to see Miles. You know what you about to do? Tie his shoe. So he started it, it got finished.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that's the guy that you want to be your backup quarterback. Look what happened when he did play. Like all jokes aside, look what happened when he was out there. He's
real.
no good. So if you're looking at the same thing this year, they didn't do anything to really address that either.
Right.
I mean, not to bring him up, but to bring him up. Colin Kaepernick's still out there. I
And he
know
should have been had a job.
he should have, but that's
I would
what
love to see the Bengals get him.
Mason Rudolph goes to show you how much he is being blackballed because Mason Rudolph's a backup.
Man,
You know
Mason
what I'm
Rudolph
saying?
is a couple quarterbacks we go to. Chase Daniels, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like
He's still in the league.
yeah,
Chase
Chase Daniels. You want to hear something shocking? He made more than Cam Newton.
That's
Crazy.
wild.
That's crazy. Ain't
What?
it? That's crazy, ain't it?
Yo, that can't.
You
be
talking
real.
about the NFL's all-time rushing leader quarterback,
that can't
and
be
a man
real.
who's only started 3 games in his career.
Uh,
You talking about a man who's carried a? I ain't even gonna get started.
You
with
see the
that.
difference though.
That'd be a whole nother.
Um,
That'd be a whole topic for a long
a
time.
whole nother story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, we definitely go over after that point. That is a fact.
All right. Well, let's talk about the coaches in the hot seat.
I would say if anybody is Zach. I don't think any coach is on the hot seat, but I would say if anybody seats start to get a little warmer, it would be Zach. I would say Tomlin's kind of in that mix, but less of a hot seat situation. I think Tomlin might just look at that situation himself and take himself out of that.
All right.
Because Tomlin's still a great coach. He's still a quality guy. He still has so many years ahead of him. So I just think that he may look at this Pittsburgh Steelers situation, and after this year, like, you know what? Maybe I need to see what else is out there. Big Ben's gonna go. It's a new regime. That may be the best thing for both sides. So I don't think he's necessarily on it. I just think that it's a possibility. Zach Taylor, I think that's a whole nother ball game. Just because you need to show progress. I'm not saying that he's going to be fired either, but if we're going to have a hot seat situation, I think that
It's definitely him.
yeah, that may be it.
I
But
mean, the talk on Zach, the only thing that I really think he needs to do is to let go of play calling, because that was the whole thing that hurt us last year. He, I want to say we was in the red zone. He called a quarterback sneak on 4 and 5, on 4th and 5. Like it's a fourth down with 5 yards away from the touchdown. You call a quarterback sneak. Who does that? With Andy Dalton, who's like
Probably was
31.
trying to catch him off guard.
Nah, man. Not with Dalton. Like he ain't got them legs like that no more.
that's some Freddie Kitchen stuff when he did 4th and 9 with Chubb in a halfback draw.
Yeah,
what?
mind blowing.
Yeah, but it's with Zach. I can understand that because he's supposed to
All right.
be that
A
offensive
guru.
guru,
Yeah,
and
and
that
then
ain't.
plus like Coach said, he never like this
Never
is
called the plays
in St.
for the
Louis,
Rams.
and
So like,
then
why was he glorified as this offensive guru?
no one really knows. But he my coach right now,
Oh, you
so
gotta support your coach.
gotta support him. But he gotta let go of that play call. He
Yeah.
truly does. So I guess what player would you? What? All right. I guess the next thing we could talk about is let's talk about the schedule. Since we got them there, let's talk about these schedules. All right. So, which schedule y'all want to talk on first?
Uh,
Might as well go ahead and let's get the Steelers up out the way. We got about time for them.
Yeah. We can end up on the Steelers and then finish the rest next episode or
so the
next show.
Steelers, they got Carolina week 1. Then they got Monday Night Football, the Giants. Then they got the Broncos. Then they got the Texans at the Titans, Philly, Cleveland, at Baltimore, at Dallas, Cincinnati, at Jacksonville, Redskins, at Buffalo, at Cincinnati, Indianapolis, then at Cleveland. So what it looks like is they got a pretty well balanced schedule. They're hopping back and forth home on the road a lot. Um, a game that should be interesting. You know, they're always gonna battle with the AFC North team, but I think a game like at Dallas, by that time we should start to know who teams are. That's early November. That's when teams are really competing for the playoffs and start to set their tone. And these are two teams, you know, that wants to compete for playoffs, got expectations. So I think by that November 8th game against Dallas, I think that should be a very interesting game because if Dallas has their expectations, of course, they expect to be the winner of the NFC East.
All
And
right.
if Dak wants to get paid how he thinks he should get paid, these are the games he has to win and get his teams over the hump. So I think that game at Dallas, besides the that typical AFC North game with the Ravens and stuff like that, besides that game, I think that game at Dallas is something on their schedule that stands out to me.
Okay. Looking at their schedule, it's a pretty solid schedule. Honestly, I'm looking at 8-8 for them a whole nother year, especially with Big Ben back at the wheel, because I don't think he still has the talent or the arm that he used to, especially after the injury. Their hardest game to me is probably the Ravens. So yeah, it should definitely be an 8-8.
I'll save my record prediction on them. I gotta look over the schedule a little more. I get back there with you.
All right. What about you, T?
0-16 if you ask me. No. I honestly think actually looking at the schedule, the from December 13th until the end of the season, I think that's gonna be tough for 'em. Buffalo,
It's really underrated.
they're super underrated.
They're greatly coached.
Absolutely. So I think that, and by the time we still have that Ben thing in my mind, they play Cincinnati on a Monday night, and you're going to know who Cincinnati is by that time. If Cincinnati is, they're young, they're spry. If Pittsburgh is banged up like I think they could be, then that could hurt them. The coach Philip Rivers, he's old, but he's going to be there. I think the Colts have a pretty good team around them too. I just think that with Jacoby Brissett last year, it wasn't going to get the job done. So, they end the season with my Brownies. So by that time, and it's in Cleveland, so that may have playoff implications. It just it's not a treacherous end of the season, but I say that it's at least intriguing enough because I see so many different variations of possibilities that could happen. They could go 4-0, or they could mess around and go 0-4. in the same situation. They can go 2-2, they can go 1-3. Like there's so many different possibilities with these 4 games and the way that it's set up. I mean, just looking at the schedule, the Tennessee Houston situation, uh, that may be tough with the Philly. Philly's always going to be a tough game for them because it's a Pennsylvania thing and they don't play a lot. So depending on what you have to play for, in the NFL, a lot of that has to do with that. What do you have to play for? That's why the last 4 games for Steelers have me kind of intrigued because at that point, it's like a different variation of what other teams have to play for. Buffalo could be playing for a playoff spot. Cincinnati could be playing for either a top 5 pick again, or they could be playing for some respectability. You've seen Cincinnati over the last couple years. They're playing when other teams aren't really playing.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So it's a level of intrigue with that. Baltimore, I agree, it's going to be the toughest game they're going to have because Baltimore always plays the Steelers tough. They're really the rivals.
That's the best rivalry in the NFL.
They hit hard, So
I wouldn't say the best, but it's up there.
Best rivalry in the NFL.
Dallas is going to be interesting, especially they're playing in Dallas. So I don't see them stopping Zeke at all. Um, it's going to be tough. I mean, especially they got the NFC East, so we'll see. NFC East and the AFC South is what it looks like. But if I would have to guess, I agree with the 8-8.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. Is it they play 17 games right now? Do they, or is that next year?
Be
Okay, so 8-8. Yep, I can agree with that. Like I said, I hope they go 0-16. So let them have a parade.
All right. So let's look at over the Ravens schedule. Okay, so the Ravens got the Browns first week. They got the Chiefs, and then they got the Bengals, Steelers.
You reading that schedule wrong?
Am I reading it wrong?
Yeah, it goes
left to right.
Yeah, they got the Browns, Texans, Chiefs, Redskins, Bengals, Eagles, Steelers, Colts, Patriots, Titans, Steelers again, Cowboys, Browns again, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Giants, and the Cincinnati Bengals again.
Okay. That's rough.
Yeah, that's a tough schedule. I started off. I got 3 games on this list. One, Monday Night Football versus the Chiefs. That's gonna be probably the most watched Monday Night Football game since the Chiefs and the Rams a couple years ago.
All right.
My second game is definitely versus the Tennessee Titans. That you can actually say that's number 1 on the list of the games I want to see. And then the one that intrigues me the most is versus the Patriots because they're always going to be a good coach team because they have Bill Belichick, but now they're a contender again because I feel like they're a contender again because they have Cam Newton.
I mean, but who's he going to throw to?
Who he throw to in Carolina?
That's a good point.
All right. Yeah, he was that offense. He was that franchise.
Right.
Like, it's not carrying the offense and carrying the franchise. This is nothing new to Cam Newton. And now you possibly give him the best coach of all time, and Bill Belichick, who said the best mobile quarterback he's ever seen is Cam Newton. You also know one quarterback Bill Belichick has never beat.
It's Cam Newton.
Tadao.
Okay. All right, I see your point now.
They got the best corner in the NFL. They still have a good defense. The Patriots are the Patriots, bro.
Yeah.
That's why I did not want them to get Cam Newton because that's very scary. That's very scary. Yeah.
All right. So what's your prediction though?
I go anywhere between. I don't think we'll go 14-2 again like last year. I'll go anywhere between like 11-5, 13-3.
I was thinking 11-5 too.
I probably would say 12-4. I think that'll be our record, but you never know.
But I mean, like, it's what Lamar played his first full season last year.
Mm-hmm.
So teams now got more tape on him. So the defense should be more adjusted to how Lamar plays. And like you said, there are some tough games on here with the Chiefs, and you kind of make sense with the Patriots, and then the Titans. You know, they'll just feed the ball to Henry.
Yeah.
So
that's why we addressed the D-line and linebacker because of him.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I see a pretty tough schedule, but 11-5 should probably, that should probably ease out. What about you, T?
I can see that. I'm thinking more the 10-6 to 12-4 kind of situation. just because, like you said, there's more tape on them. And kind of throw a teaser out there for the next week's show. There's a certain guy out there that I think determines me going from 10-6 to maybe a 13-3 to a 14-2 again, just by this one guy coming on that roster. Again, another tease. We'll talk about that next week. But I think that the Ravens have a solid. Everything goes wrong. 8-18. Worst case scenario, 8-18.
Yeah.
I think best case scenario, 14-2, 13-3 kind of area.
That 14-2 is very hard to do.
It absolutely is. But I think last year a lot of everything went right.
Yeah.
So if we go from, I'm not the most math wise guy out here. My proficiency test scores will tell you that. But but just doing simple math, I think that you'll regress to the mean at some point and end up where you should be, which may be 11-5, 10-6, that area. So it's obviously any game against the Chiefs is going to be a tough game. Just looking at the schedule, the Patriots. I thought that was the difference. The Cam Newton situation was from the Patriots picking top 5, top 10 to maybe playing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Cam Newton's that good.
Real.
I feel like that's the case. The Texans, I kind of feel like that was a terrible move with the Hopkins situation, but they may end up getting a W. That one of those sneaky, like you might look at the Texans schedule, they might be 5-11, but all 5 wins might be against playoff teams because it's just football is weird like that. So I mean, if I would have to predict, like I said, I would final answer 10-6, but it's gonna be intriguing to see how teams match up with Lamar Jackson, knowing that they have a full year on him. So I don't know. Let's see how this goes. Let's just hope that we get a 10-6 situation. That means we get football.
Yeah.
So I mean, more than anything, that's what I'm hoping for. I don't want to get too much into predictions and everything. I just want to predict that there's a football season and something to watch.
Right. Okay. Well, before we close out, Coach, you said you was gonna talk about the Steelers and give a little prediction.
Yeah. So
before we
with my Steelers, I go. Let me see the schedule. I'm shooting somewhere between like a 9-7, 10-16.
Right.
Because their coach good, so I think that's always. If you look at last year, they should have had a terrible year, and Tomlin had them on the verge of the playoffs. I think so. That's going to help their coach good. They have a good defense, a very good defense. So I think that could carry. And I'm just like you said, I don't know what Big Ben's going to do. Is he going to be healthy? I know he lost a lot of weight, but even like T said, in his prime, you want for sure getting 16 games out of him. So if something was to happen right there, and then with the offensive skill position, who's really going to take that next step? Like, who's going to be that guy in the backfield? Who's going to be that guy catching the ball? I'm not saying it has to be a receiver. Can it be the tight end who becomes that go-to guy or something? But so I think the Steelers could go anywhere between 9-7, 10-6. I think they'll be a pretty competitive team still.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we're about to close out the show. Just getting instructions real quick to know how to do this. First show.
Shout out to Rondell MVP.
Yeah.
First time doing this production
Hey,
thing.
I'm trying to hold
Held
it down,
man.
Behind it all.
Held it down. Especially another shout out for Rondell and Cody and Marbell yesterday. We debuted the Open Gym show, which I am the actual third person on that show. Again, I couldn't play yesterday. I was in the surgery chair. But these guys stepped up tremendously for me. Had a great show, good banner. I miss these guys, man. I'm happy to be back, talking my smack. So
I'm glad to have you back, man.
Love it, man. But yeah, shout out to you, man. I definitely appreciate everything you do here, bro.
All right. Well, before we close out, any last thing y'all want to say?
Open Gym next week, baby. I'll be back. Nutty North next week, same time, same channel. Be out here. Make sure on their network that thing.
Like he said, Nutty North. Shout out Open Gym. Check out all my guys on Score on Air doing their thing. Check us out on the website and pay attention. ATS on the way. I ain't gonna say too much, but ATS on the way.
All right. Like they said, check us out on Score on Air, Facebook, scoreonair.com. Just check us out. We'll be back next week. See y'all later.